Hi, I'm Peggy, and this is my second video in my March 2018 Lymphedema Awareness series. So on my last video, I kind of touched on lymphedema, what it was, and I started to tell you a little bit about my story. So I'm going to jump right back into my story. Now, I left you off in 2010 when I was extremely sick. I'm going to backtrack just a little bit and then take you on forward. So, like I said, I've had lymphedema for 19 years. The first 8 years it was undiagnosed. So the first 8 years I was just struggling and trying to figure out why in the world my leg was so swollen, why I was in so much pain, why I was gaining so much weight and just, miserable. And I went to doctor after doctor. In that course of time, they did a lot of things that does not make lymphedema better. In fact, makes lymphedema worse. One of the main things they had done, they had put me on diuretics. Diuretics is not, you do not want diuretics. In fact, when you have lymphedema, you actually want the opposite. You want to stay very hydrated. You want to drink a lot of water. That helps your body wash this stuff out. Anyway, so before my complete spiral into what I thought was going to be the end of me, I was spending roughly 4 hours a day just maintaining my legs so that I could walk. I was doing manual lymph drainage massages twice a day. I was laying on my chi machine. I would get up, let me just run through my day. I get up in the morning, I would take my multi-layer compression bandage off. I would get in the shower. After the shower, I would lay on my chi machine, then I would do a manual lymph drainage massage, then I would put my compression garment on. Then I would wash all my bandages, wrap all my bandages, so on and so on. At night, I would take my garment off, I would lay on my chi machine, I would do a manual lymph drainage massage, and then I would wrap myself in a multi-layer bandage. So all of this took roughly 4 hours every single day, dedicated just to maintaining. Plus, I was in compression about 22 hours a day. So if I wasn't wearing a compression garment, I was wearing a multi-layer compression bandage. At that time, I didn't have night garments. I always wrapped myself. So that was leading up to that. On top of that, I was on Cymbalta for the nerve pain. I was on Percocet for the pain. I was on a thyroid medication. Now, my thyroid wasn't really low. It was in the lower part of the normal, but they felt that putting me on thyroid medication would help the lymphedema. Anyway, and I do know there's some ties with thyroid and lymphedema, but unless you have a doctor that actually understands this, I suggest you don't offer to be a guinea pig. And then I was on... all of these caused problems with my stomach, so then I was on like a daily medication for the acid reflux. I was on something else, and I'm sorry, my mind just completely blanked up on me. But bottom line, I was on a whole bunch of prescriptions just to get through my day. Ambien to sleep at night because I wasn't sleeping, and all these, vicious cycle of this and this caused this and we have to treat this and so forth. So anyway, all of these prescription medications caused a lot of liver damage. So I'm also having issues because my liver is being damaged. So then I was having the cellulitis infections just one after another. I was on very strong antibiotics all of the time. And that's what led me up to where I left off in the last video, October 2010, when I really thought the complications of lymphedema had ended me. I was done. I went home ready to tell everyone goodbye. And the craziest thing happened. I get a phone call from a fellow photographer who was in a group that I was in. I never met him in person. And he just starts going on and on about this thing we were going to donate our time to over on the following Saturday. And I said, I'm not going to make it. He was like, you have to come. And I was like, no, I'm not going to make it. And I said, I'm really sick. He's like, oh, you'll be better by Saturday. And I said, no, I won't be, and I'm not going to come. And he's like, what's wrong with you? And I remember thinking how rude it was to ask basically a stranger their medical history. But I said, well, as if it's any of your business, I have C. diff. And his tone immediately changed. He said, oh my gosh, you drop everything you're doing and get up to Carlsbad right now. Come to my office. I've got one patient, and then I'm going to clear the rest of my afternoon. Just get here right now. And I said, what are you talking about? And he said, well, I'm a nutritionist and, I holistic, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, no, I had no idea. And at this time, I don't know what holistic is. I don't know what nutritionist is. I really didn't. I'm not being sarcastic. Nobody had told me that I was supposed to drink water before. I mean, yeah, you're supposed to drink water, but I didn't realize how important it was. So anyway, long story short, I figure out how to get up there to his office, and he draws blood, and he starts looking at it under the microscope. And, your blood goes throughout your entire body, so it picks up things. So when they look at it under a microscope, they can tell exactly what's going on. And he starts basically, it felt like he was reading my tarot cards or something. He was like, and you had a cat when you were, and you had this, and you had this sickness once, and you had, just going through my whole life. And I was like, yeah, that's true. It was absolutely crazy. And then he says, ooh, your lymphatic system is a mess. And I go, yeah, I've had lymphedema for 13 years. And he goes, oh, we can fix that. And he just said it really tongue in cheek. And you have to remember how sick I was at this moment. And I said, hey, we don't joke about my leg. And he I kind of startled him. He's like, oh, no, I wasn't joking. I can help you. But if you don't want me to, I'll never bring it up again. And I'm thinking, well, I'm not stupid. Of course I want help. I just thought he was being silly or whatever and making a mockery of me. And so I said, of course I want help. So now all these things I'm going to tell you that I did were specific for me and for my body. Now, just because you have lymphedema and I have lymphedema doesn't mean the same things are going to fix it, because a blockage in the lymphatic system, there's normally other things that led up to that, and there's other things that it's caused since. So everybody has other issues they have to work through. So I'm going to tell you what worked for me. So he immediately put me on Paraclear. I had some parasites in my blood. He put me on enzymes, because enzymes are what help you break down and digest, the food and the nutrition in our body. And then he put me on a high alkaline diet. Now, I had no idea what that even meant. And I had no idea what pH was and what pH levels were, and that it mattered. And he explained how when your body's high alkaline, your pH levels are high, disease, cancers, and infections can't live in a high alkaline environment. They thrive in an acidic environment, which is a low alkaline environment. So things like soda brings your levels down, processed foods, all these things. So I immediately cut everything out of my diet that was not high alkaline. I had charts that I had in my phone that I would go to the grocery store and I would be, should I eat this? What's high alkaline? And what's going to help bring my body's pH up? So I was absolutely crazy about it. I was like, I'm going to live. I'm going to fix this, because the one thing I've always wanted is to not have lymphedema. The whole 8 years that I was undiagnosed, I just thought as soon as they figure out what it is, we'll fix it. Then when they figured out what it was and they told me it was incurable, I was pretty much devastated. Now, October of 2010, I had already been diagnosed as stage 2 secondary lymphedema. So stage 2 means when you prop your legs up, elevate your legs, the swelling's not going to go down. It means that the size that your leg is pretty much where it's going to the best it's ever going to be. There's so much fibrotic tissue and tissue damage that you're not going to get any smaller than what you are right now. So I go on this high alkaline diet, and this is a picture that I took of my leg 2 months after I started this diet and after I started the enzymes. I was so excited when my leg looked like this. I was thrilled. I thought, if it never gets better, I am in heaven, because my leg before that was like this big. My calf, and what some people that have them ankle, I didn't have an ankle at that time. I had a stub. But 2 months after treatment, 2 months, and my leg looked like this. I was so excited. I thought this was awesome. I was extremely happy. And I kept going. Within 3 months of starting, I had lost 84 pounds. Now, I did not do this style of eating to lose weight. I don't believe in diets. I still don't believe in diets. I believe in giving your body the nutrition that it needs and allowing your body to do what your body needs to do to stay healthy. Our bodies are amazing. They want to heal themselves. If you get cut, they're gonna heal. I mean, your bodies are designed to heal themselves. So when you give your body the nutrition that it needs, it's going to work. It's going to function. So I just continued to eat right, continue to eat a high alkaline diet. At that time, I was eating like 75% high alkaline, 25% good stuff. I really was picky. I wouldn't eat anything that didn't have a nutrition that I needed or didn't have something that was going to benefit me. I was literally eating to live instead of living to eat. Everything I put in my body, I put in with purpose. Now, within 6 to 8 months, I was off of all of my prescribed medications. I didn't just stop on my own. I did go through my doctor. He did know what was going on. He thought I was insane, but that's okay. I think he's crazy, so we're even. But I was off of all of my medications. My liver was rebuilding itself and healing up. It took me another 18 months to wean off of wearing my compression garment. Now, the thing is with compression is not only does it help move the fluids out, but your muscles and ligaments rely on that. Just like if you were to sprain your ankle and you put a compression wrap on, the doctor always says never wear the compression too long because your body will depend on that. Well, you can imagine I was in compression 22 hours a day for 7 years. So my muscles and ligaments, I couldn't just take my compression off and, woohoo. I started by not sleeping at night wrapped, and then I started, backing it off, wearing it, going a couple hours a day without the compression. And it took me about another 18 months. But when I was finally completely out of the compression garment, I had to get a physical trainer, a personal trainer to help me re-strengthen that leg, because I walked funny because all those years of, limping and all those years of not having the muscle structure in that leg. So I really did have to do a lot of work, and I was thrilled. I lived 3 years without a compression garment. 2.5 of those without swelling. So this is a picture of me in 2013, and you can see I have a suntan line from my flip-flops. This was me with no compression garment. This was me just running around having fun, learning how to salsa dance, learning how to boogie board, going out and living life. Now, I was still very careful of my leg. I was careful not to bruise it. I was careful not to cut it. I was, I still definitely took very good care of it, but I did not have a compression garment. I was not on any medication. I continued to take the enzymes and, continued to eat healthy. And then about 2.5 years ago, a little over 2.5 years ago, I had a terrible tragedy in my life. Went into a really deep depression. I stopped taking care of myself. My leg immediately ballooned up. Stress, eating poorly, just, everything. I refused to wear a compression garment. At that time, I wasn't eating really good. I just tried to do like some crazy things. I read an article about drinking peroxide, and peroxide, I literally almost killed myself doing that one. Epsom salt baths, of course you can't have extreme hot. With lymphedema you can't have extreme hot, you can't have extreme colds. All these different things, and nothing was happening. And I was starting to gain weight again. My leg was starting to swell. And this was 2 years ago, almost exactly 2 years ago. This is me 2 years ago. This was a video that I put up. It was kind of the first time I ever told my story, my whole story. So this is what I looked like 2 years ago. You can see that my legs, still not huge, it's still not terrible, but it's much worse than what it was. And I was gaining weight, I wasn't feeling good. You have to understand that your lymphatic system is what takes away the unwanted fat cells. So that's why people with lymphedema tend to gain weight or hold weight, is because your lymphatic system is what gets rid of that. So that is definitely a struggle that people with lymphedema have. So I was like, I know what to do. I was just being lazy and rebellious and irritated that, I was having to deal with lymphedema again. So I knew what to do. So I committed to a 21-day detox. Now, when you detox and you have lymphedema, you have to be really careful, because remember, your body can't get rid of toxins. So you have to be really careful, because if you detox too fast, you can actually get super, super sick. Now, I know this because I've done over the years several detoxes. And so I decided I'm going to get better. I'm not going to let this thing, hold on me. So I started a 21-day detox, and that's all I was going to do. I was going to get cleaned up, and then, and after the 21-day detox, I was like, man, I feel awesome. It's the first time I feel alive again. And so I was like, you know what? I'm going to do raw vegan for the next 2 months. 3 months of feeling good and eating clean, that'll boost my system. That'll be great. So 2 months goes by, and I'm like, this is so easy. This is amazing. I felt so good. And so anyway, 2 months turned to another 2 months, turned to another 2 months, and it's been 2 years that I've been eating 100% raw vegan. Now, the reason I eat raw vegan is when you cook food over 118 degrees, you kill the enzymes. So when you kill the enzymes, your body has a harder time digesting and getting rid of, and so you're putting a stress on your system. So that is just a good, healthy way for me to not put an extra stress on my system. It's a good, healthy way to eat. I eat tons of fruits and vegetables. I make meals. I make things like, with walnuts and mushrooms and tomatoes that simulate meat, and ketchup. And I have, I just made fig Newtons last night, raw vegan with nuts and chocolate. Oh my gosh, I eat chocolate almost every day. I make raw vegan chocolate. So I eat tons and tons of great, amazing food. I actually don't really care for salads, which is kind of weird for a raw vegan to not like salads. So I have to get really creative to get all my greens in, but it's a great way for me. It works good for me. Here is a picture of my legs this morning. So it's working for me. Now, I still wear my Juzo compression garment. If you watch, I think a year ago I put out a video because I was like, okay, I'm sorry, 2 years ago, I don't know, I'm so sorry. Was it a year ago? Anyway, you can look back through this playlist. I think it was a year ago, a little over a year ago. I went through getting new garments. Was super emotional for me because I didn't want to have to wear a garment. I did those 3 years without a garment, and then I spiraled out and I wanted to just not wear a garment again. But right now I am wearing my garment. I love Juzo. You can watch my garment video and watch me cry and get frustrated and make an idiot of myself. But I had a lot of, I've used other brands throughout the years, and for some reason Juzo really works best for me. I go out in public with my garment. I used to not do that, but finally I decided I'm not going to let lymphedema control my life. If I have a compression garment on my leg and I want to wear a dress, then I have a compression garment on my leg and I'm going to wear a dress. So, here's a couple of quick pictures. I'll just flash a few pictures of me and my Juzo garment, my sexy leg, and a dress. But you know what? I just got to the point where I couldn't let that control me anymore. So I decided that, garment or no garment, lymphedema is part of my life right now. Will we ever cure it? I don't know. I personally don't feel like I would ever go in for surgery, but who knows what I'll think in another 5 years or 10 years or 20 years. But right now I'm keeping it under control with a compression garment and eating healthy and keeping positive. And I meditate. I still do massages. I still lay on my chi machine. I promise, I keep saying I'm gonna show you, but I will. I'll make a video and I'll show you all my little gadgets. So I hope this explained a little bit more in detail about what I did. The next video after this that I'm gonna put up, I'm actually going to be talking with Hugh Smith, and he is the nutritionist that saved my life. He literally saved my life. So we'll go into a little bit more detail about stuff. And I hope this helped you. I hope this encouraged you. Please, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, make sure you do that. Make sure you subscribe to my Lymphedema Journey playlist, because a lot of things on this channel is photography related, but this whole playlist is dedicated to lymphedema related stuff. So follow this playlist, and like I said, I'm going to be uploading a lot through the month of March because it's lymphedema awareness. So hang in there, have a great day, and I'll see you soon.